draft, right?
If you ask him to, sure.
Sure. And it would be reasonable for us to ask him to review your drafts, right?
It's something that a layperson could easily misunderstand. So it's understandable you'd want to talk to somebody with knowledge of the profession.
Sure. And can we also agree that going back to you looking at these things and making sure that before it got submitted into evidence, it was up to speed? This is your final, correct?
It is.
Did you notice on about a third of the slides that are in evidence, they're still stamped draft?
A third?
No, let's go to page 21. See draft? Can you see that, Agent?
I do.
Go to page 22. See that?
Yes.
23? 24? I mean, I'll let the jury, it's in evidence, but significant portion of your final is still submitted draft. Is that another mistake that should have been taken out?
In preparing over the past month or two, I noticed some things that wanted to modify somewhat. Didn't change the conclusions or the overall locations or anything like that. But I had somebody take a second look at them after I made some changes, and I forgot to take the draft stamp off.
Okay. You go to January 5th, please. Start slide 8. This is January 5th. You would agree that this is at 10:56 to 11:51, and it shows that Mr. Fernandez is in the area of his house.
Yes, same geographic area.
Not unusual for a person to be in the same geographic area of their home, correct?
No.
This doesn't tell you anything about Henry Tenon or anything about Mr. Fernandez other than he may be home, right?
Correct.
Next slide. All right, now we jump hours later, right? This is like 5 hours later.
Yes, 5:24 p.m. is when this starts.
Okay, and this is Henry Tenon going to the area of Jacksonville Beach, correct?
Yes.
All right, so now you don't have any information as to where Mr. Fernandez is on January 5th, do you?
No, not during this time frame.
You have no idea whether Mr. Fernandez saw Mr. Tenon when he came near the Jacksonville Beach area, correct?
I don't have any independent knowledge of that.
Yeah, you have no communications between the two of them on January 5th, correct?
Not that I've been made privy to.
You can't tie Mr. Fernandez to Henry Tenon on January 5th in any way using technical data or records that you have obtained.
Not with these phone records, with cell site and Gmail records.
Okay, and most.
Thank you. So, Mr. Clifton, for purposes of this hearing, I received, while I'm in the middle of the trial of the state of Florida versus Mario Fernandez Saldana, I received an email indicating that Ms. Bridegan is refusing to comply with the court order. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And then Ms. Nelson is the person that notified the court. So, Ms. Nelson, I'll hear from you.
Thank you, Your Honor. I also apologize. I am not suitably attired for court, so I will keep my camera off. We are moving for a motion, or our motion is for an order to show cause why Ms. Bridegan should not be held in contempt for failure to comply with the court's August 11th order, as well as the order this morning and the order yesterday.
Ms. Nelson, do you agree that it would be indirect contempt of court?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Clifton, do you understand the nature of the motion for an order to show cause?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So it is basically non-compliance with the court's order that was entered in on August 11th. And for the record, the court had a hearing that was requested based on the subpoenas that were issued pursuant to a prior order. The court heard the objection of the party, the non-party. I then, after that hearing and after consideration of the side that was presented during the objection, the court overruled the objection and issued an order of compliance because it was not being complied with. That is the prior order. Then this morning at approximately 7:19, this court got notice that Ms. Bridegan wanted, counsel filed a petition for all writs. The 5th District Court of Appeal has docketed now the appellate process, which is the appropriate way to go if there is disagreement with the court's decision. In the trial court, I believe it was you, Mr. Clifton, that filed the motion to stay this morning. It was approximately, I think, about 8:15 or 8:20,
About
maybe.
20 p.m. last night, Your Honor. But
It was 10:20. I didn't get notice of it until early this morning.
Yep.
Then defense counsel filed a response. The court then issued another order denying the stay and denied it within, I believe it was about 8:30ish, giving Ms. Bridegan 30 minutes to comply with the court's order. Additionally, in the prior hearing, in the prior order, the defense has gone through the expense of asking and paying for an expert to come up to take possession of the phone to comply with the court's order and then return the phone to Ms. Bridegan in short order so that she could have her phone basically selectively downloaded and then returned to her so that there would be as little time away from her phone as possible. And so that is what is not being complied with. Do you believe that this is sufficient notice, or I can write the order to show cause? I'm going to grant the order to show cause, and I can write down date and time. Pursuant to the rule, I believe that you are entitled to reasonable time to prepare a defense for Ms. Bridegan.
we would want reasonable time to prepare a defense. Slide they showed you yesterday, where it just slide number 42, where it just shows like no pink, and it looks like nothing happened, right? This is a representative that there's no TA records during 7:11 to 8:19 p.m. That's the slide that you developed, correct?
As well as the note shows there's no outgoing or incoming text messages during the timeframes noted.
Okay. Again, you don't know if he's connected to his home Wi-Fi, correct?
I don't know.
And let's go down to the slide that shows a bunch of TA records on the night of the homicide. Slide 49. So on this exhibit that you put together, different than the desolate one where it just shows nothing, you put all these TA records on the right-hand side, correct?
There are a lot of timing advance records, yes.
But let's focus on the top. There's a timing advance at 9/11/04, correct?
Yes,
And there's not another one until 10:02, correct?
that's correct.
That's approximately a 52-minute section where there are no timing advance records, correct?
Yes.
And if you made a slide, if you wanted to, which you didn't, but if I asked you to, and I'm just going to ask the jury to visualize it, a slide, if the crime had occurred at 9:30, just for a moment, are you following me?
Yes.
If the crime occurred at 9:30, you could make an identical slide to the one I just asked you that say between 9/11/04 and 10:02 p.m., and it would look identical. There would be no TA records, correct?
Correct. There's no calls or text messages during that time frame either.
So when the government asked you yesterday, and Ms. Stifler said something to the effect of, and it just happens to be that during the time of the homicide, there's no TA records, it was based on the slide that shows nothing, correct?
That is what it is. There's no records during that time.
And it is what it is that there's no records between 9/11 and 10:02 p.m., right? This is what it is. There are no records between that time period. And that's
as for demonstrative purposes, Mario Fernandez Saldana's communications with John Biggerstaff for the same time frame. And similar to the last one, did you include all incoming, outgoing calls, text messages, and chats?
Yes.
And here, how many communications between Mr. Fernandez's number and Mr. Biggerstaff's number were there in January of 2022?
27.
February?
70.
March?
0.
April?
42.
May?
55.
June?
84.
July?
91.
And August?
45.
And your toll records for Mr. Fernandez only go through August of 2022?
For this exhibit, yes.
I want to ask about one more date in these records. Actually, two more dates. As I'm scrolling, we're seeing there's a lot of transactions in green from Ms. Gardner. I want to ask about these transactions here for March 10th of 2022. Highlighted in yellow, beginning on line 4185 through lines 4192. These are transactions with Mr. Tenon, and can you go through them, just these few highlighted ones, line from line, and say what time they were and what type of communication, and from whom to whom?
Sure. The first one was all on March 10th at 3:16 p.m., a text message from Mr. Tenon to Mr. Fernandez. The second was at 3:17 p.m., a text message from Mr. Tenon to Mr. Fernandez. The third was at 3:28 p.m., a text message from Mr. Fernandez to Mr. Tenon. The next one was at 3:36 p.m., a voice call from Mr. Fernandez to Mr. Tenon. At 3:48 p.m., another voice call from Mr. Fernandez to Mr. Tenon. At 4:12 p.m., a text message from Mr. Fernandez to Mr. Tenon. And then finally at 4:36 p.m., an incoming voice call from Mr. Tenon to Mr. Fernandez.
And we see some of these calls include duration data. For this call on line 4188, how long was the duration of that call?
4 seconds.
And then here at this call on 4192, what was the duration of this call?
1,638 seconds.
About how long is that? How many minutes would that be?
I believe it's approximately 27 minutes.
And I ask about that date specifically because as part of your investigation, did you pull those records and provide them to detectives based on a specific date being of interest to you all?
Yes, I did.
And what was the date of interest to you when you looked at these records and pulled those March 10th phone calls?
Based on my understanding, on March 9th, the Jacksonville Beach Police Department released images of the suspect vehicle, the blue Ford F-150, to the media.
Do you know the total duration of minutes total from these records between Mr. Fernandez and Mr. Tenon for these transactions from January through July of 2022? How many minutes total did they speak over this 7-month time period?
It was over 10,000 seconds, approximately 176 minutes, which is approximately 3 hours. Frame.
Was there a statistical, I won't say outlier, but something of statistical significance to you when you mapped the deletion of the Google records?
Yes.
And have you prepared a chart showing that deletion rate over time?
Yes.
And does that chart fairly and accurately show the data when it's mapped out in terms of the volume?
Yes.
I'm showing you what's been entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 215. This is a Google deletion data by processed date chart. And can you explain to the jury what we're seeing here?
Sure. So this is using the secondary database that we just viewed, or the secondary spreadsheet that we just viewed. And it is breaking down the number of processed deletions by date for the entire time period that we had records for.
And as a data analyst looking at this chart, what stood out to you as being of potentially evidentiary value?
March 1st of 2022.
And why did that date stand out to you?
Because there were over 5,000 processed deletions on that date.
And was the date, did you look at the time and date range of these deletions?
I did.
When they started and when they ended? And can you give the jury idea of when they began?
Sure. So for the March 1st date specifically, the deletions started early in the morning, approximately 06:11 hours. And I'm not sure exactly when they ended, but the bulk of the deletions on that day were at 06:11.
And during your work on this case, was there something significant in the investigation that occurred on March 1st of 2022?
Yes.
What was that?
That was the date that Mr. Fernandez and Ms. Gardner were interviewed by Jacksonville Beach Police for the first time.
And to your knowledge, Mr. Fernandez spoke to Jacksonville Beach Police on February 28th to arrange to come in on March 1st for his interview.
I believe that the contact was made through Ms. Gardner, who then contacted Mr. Fernandez.
And are these deletions prior to when he would have arrived at the Jacksonville Beach Police Department for his interview?
Yes.
Speaking of February 28th into March 1st, 2022, when you were reviewing Mr. Fernandez's Google return, did you also find internet searches that appeared to be of evidentiary value?
Yes.
Can you explain what those were?
Sure. So in the evening of February 28th, this would be at approximately 6:02 p.m., around that time there were multiple records that indicated that there were searches or viewing of maps associated with areas in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as well as North Carolina.
And did you also review and obtain evidence related to cell site data from Agent Blythe that Mr. Fernandez had driven to North Carolina and then Pennsylvania after his interview with police at the Jacksonville Beach Police Department beginning March 2nd?
Yes.
Did you do any investigation into the nature
listed on the check?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, the state has somewhat alleged that this is hiding in plain sight. But it certainly could be the opposite. It could be for legitimate purposes. Would you agree with that?
It could be.
None of those checks, and you've seen copies of those checks, correct?
I have.
They certainly don't say murder of Jared Bridegan on there, do they?
That's correct. They do not.
Okay. They say landscaping for one,
Yes.
tree work for another, or excuse me, landscaping and tree work and then roofing for another.
I'm not sure about the exact wording of the first one. The second one does say roofing.
Right. And then one said Kickstarter.
Kickstarter, good luck.
Okay. And were you made aware that once the truck was recovered in the search of the Potomac property, they actually found a business plan for Mr. Tenon?
I remember hearing about that. I'm not sure. I don't know that I knew that it was found in the Potomac house.
If I represent to you that law enforcement recovered that, would you take my word for it?
Yes.
Okay. No dispute that a handwritten check with a signature and the writing in the memo line with the name of your business is a pretty identifiable instrument.
It's identifiable, yes.
Much easier to trace than cash.
That's correct.
Certainly better than crypto.
That's correct.
All ways that people committing crimes and issuing payments may utilize to avoid having it traced back to them.
Yes, there are a number of ways to accomplish that.
But in this case, the only payments that you found or were found by law enforcement with your knowledge was by way of these 3 checks.
To my knowledge, yes.
And you assisted in the location of the blue F-150?
I did.
And that was by way of your cellular data investigation?
Yes.
And that was specific to Henry Tenon, correct?
We reviewed Henry Tenon's records, different types of records to find the blue truck, yes.
You didn't find any evidence that Mario Fernandez or his devices ever went to that particular location, correct?
Not that I recall, no.
No connection to that location that you're aware of, correct?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
And certainly, as you mentioned, you have knowledge of the major breaks in the case.
Yes.
Had there been a connection between the property where the F-150 was found, you would expect you would have known that.
If it was determined, if there was a connection determined to exist, I believe I would have known that, yes.
Going back to that particular property where the F-150 was found,
Yes.
were you able to identify anyone other than Henry Tenon that had a connection to that property?
The individual who was spoken to by law enforcement?
Do you know that person's name?
Jimmy Jones.
Did you ever find any connection between Mario Fernandez and Jimmy Jones?
I did not know.
After those 3 checks, which was March and April, no disagreement that there was no evidence of payments November of 2021 from Mario Fernandez to Henry Tenon.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
None for December of 2021.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Nothing in January of 2022.
Not that I'm aware of.
And nothing in February of 2022 when the homicide occurred.
That's correct.
You would agree you found no evidence, Mr. Tenon, a text message between him and Mario Fernandez with regards to payments for a homicide.
That's correct.
You've never been made aware of a jail phone call from Henry Tenon to anyone complaining that he didn't get paid for this homicide.
No.
No other information related to Henry Tenon getting paid for this homicide other than the allegation that these 3 checks may have had some significance.
Were there any contacts, calls, texts, or interactions between Mario 904-566-2633 and this phone?
There were none.
I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to still in States Exhibit 186, were you given a second cell phone purportedly belonging to Henry Tenon, which was an LG phone?
Yes.
And in that phone, was it associated with a phone number ending in 7612?
Yes, it was.
And here we see an extraction report where you asked to look for any communications, text messages, instant messages, otherwise, between this cell phone number, 7612, and Mario Fernandez, 566-2633, no, stored as Mario in this phone.
Yes, I was.
And were you able to find the presence of any messages in this phone?
Yes, I was.
And how many were there?
4.
And here we see one of those messages. First of all, is this the report that you pulled? I split it up into 4 slides, but we're showing 4 messages.
Yes, it is.
The first message, did you convert these from UTC to daylight savings time?
This is standard time, but
Standard
yes.
time, I'm sorry. So that would be UTC -5?
Correct.
So see here, we have one message from Mario, 566-2633.
Correct.
We have one message here heading your way from 566-2633. And the date on this message?
Yes, this one is January 4th, 2022.
And 7:03:47 p.m., that would be the correct time converted from UTC.
That is correct.
And on the following slide, we see what appears to be the same chat thread. The owner of the phone which would be 7612, Mr. Tenon, presumably replying okay.
Correct.
And then this phone number belonging to Mario, 566-2633, saying, I'm here, brother. And this is 7:21 p.m. and 7:30 to 50 p.m.
That's
on
correct.
January 4th.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
Were there any other messages present in this cell phone between the number for Henry Tenon and Mario Fernandez?
No, there were not.
Only 4.
Correct.
Lastly, I'm going to ask you about an extraction report that you reviewed for Mario Fernandez's Samsung Galaxy A13. And these reports are in evidence as States Exhibit 185. And we're looking at an extraction report device events. Can you describe to the jury what this report shows?
So as I sort of mentioned earlier, the device stores certain events, power logs, screen on, screen off, that sort of thing. One of the events that was stored on this phone was a factory reset for this phone.
Can you tell the jury what a factory reset does?
So if factory reset, what happens is all of the files on the phone are locked. Each individual file has their own lock. It's encryption. It has a key in which the lock is opened and the data is decrypted. So during a factory reset, the keys that unlock these files are destroyed by the phone. So it's no longer able to unlock any of these files. And where those files used to reside, it's now marked that those files can now be overwritten by new data. It would be similar to one of these large self-storage warehouses where each locker is each individual file. And then these files have locks. Well, I take all the keys to those locks on a key ring and I throw them in the trash, I throw them in the river, incinerate them, do whatever. Basically, you can't get to any of that data anymore. And while that was happening, the manager of the store went and put new locks on everything and decided that other customers could come in and put their new belongings inside these lockers. So where I can't get any of the old stuff back anymore, but all you see is what is currently on the phone and currently in those lockers.
And this device event report indicates that this phone was factory reset and wiped on August 26, 2022.
That's correct.
And everything up until this date, August 26, 2022, following the wipe factory reset, would that be no longer present on the phone?
That's correct.
That includes every photograph on the camera. I'm
Correct.
sorry, every photograph on that phone.
Correct.
Every text message on that phone.
Correct.
Every Google search on that phone.
Correct.
All social media.
Correct.
Any phone logs or phone records.
Correct.
Location information that predates this time frame.
That's correct.
If you wanted to keep your phone and use it further, would you have to log back into all of your accounts to get back into using that data?
Yes, you would.
So in this case, did you review Mr. Fernandez's on the Samsung Galaxy A13, the user accounts that were present on this phone when you reviewed it?
Yes, I did.
And here we see in States 185 user accounts, there are 30.
So you were able to take 2 projectiles and actually match them to each other.
Yes, sir.
And what were those 2 numbers?
Those were items 6 and 9.
And I'm showing you what's been entered into evidence as States Exhibit 89B, which corresponds to number 6, and States 93C, which corresponds to 9. Am I accurate in that?
Yes, sir.
So let's show the jury in 93C. It actually looks a little beat up. Is that fair?
Depends on what you're talking about, but yes.
So, but microscopically, it had information.
Yes, sir.
So you were able to compare 93C and match it to 89B. Which is going to be at the bottom. And what determination were you able to make about those two projectiles?
That they were identified to each other, which means that they were fired in the same firearm.
Were you able to make any determination based on class characteristics and rifling characteristics about the type of firearm?
Yes, they are also consistent with a Glock type firearm.
Are you able to conclusively say that those projectiles are 10 millimeters?
No, sir.
Why not?
Based off of the weight and the characteristics, they're not indicative of a 10 millimeter because they're going to have the same base diameter. Or sorry, they're not going to be indicative of an exclusive 10 millimeter because the base diameter is the same as a 40 Smith & Wesson, and the weight wasn't high enough to eliminate from a 40 Smith & Wesson.
But they absolutely could be Glock 10 millimeters.
Yes, sir.
And you did not receive any Smith & Wesson 40 caliber shell casings in this case at all.
No, sir.
So if the projectiles are consistent with a 10 millimeter and all the casings are 10 millimeters, is it consistent that this was a Glock 10 millimeter firearm?
Based off the cartridge cases, yes, and the projectiles by themselves are 40/10 millimeter, but it does have a potential for having a Glock 10 millimeter firearm, yes.
He said anything about that his wife did not want the kids caught in the crossfire?
Oh, yes, sir.
What did he say?
Oh, see, that's why we're trying to make sure. When he said that part, he was saying that she didn't have a problem with, I don't know his name,
Her ex.
her ex getting killed. She just didn't want her kids caught in the middle.
And did Mr. Fernandez tell you why this was done?
Why it was done?
Why his wife wanted the victim killed?
See, he never told me why they wanted him killed. All I know is she didn't want the kids around him. She didn't want the kids with the dad.
Is that what the defendant told you?
Yes.
That Shanna, meaning his wife, didn't want the kids around their dad?
Yes.
Later, this is back in 2024.
Yes, sir.
That's all the questions.
Okay. Could I clarify? It didn't come up on the transcript. To me, I think that might have been important. Did he say something about Shanna wanted to put a rape case?
Yes, repeat that again if we missed it.
Yes, she wanted to put a rape case against the dad.
Against the dad?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I missed.
That was her idea.
What did Mr. Fernandez say about his wife's idea to put a rape case on the dad?
He said that shit won't work. It would be on her temporarily.
So whose idea was it to kill the victim?
Oh, Mario.